speakers and former members of the Lagos State House of Assembly that are chairmen and members of Statutory Commission that are here present, especially the acting chairman of the Lagos State House of Assembly Commission, Otumba Richard Oshunboye, able and capable body of permanent secretary, chairmen of our local government and LCDAs that are here present, heads of government agencies and parastatals that are here present, Falilat Ajayi Obasa, and by extension, the two lovely daughters of Mr. Speaker here, the Oba of Lagos, Obariwon Akiolu, here ably led by the Opelua of Lagos, Chief Lateef Adebigbe Ajose, and others that are here, other royal fathers that are here, the Olu of Agege, Oba Kamilat Isiba, and the Alaibe of Wili Agege. All of you acknowledge our political leaders, from the chairman of our party, Pastor Colinius Ojelabi, members of the Governor's Advisory Council, led by Prince Tajudeen Oluyole Olusi, Senator Antonia Defuye, Senator Musili Banikoro, Alhaji Mutiore, Omoba Murphy Adetoro, and others that are here, captains of industry, heads of agencies that are here, CDC, CDAs that are here, representatives of our various ethnic nationals that are here, religious leaders that are here. I want to also welcome the gentlemen of the press. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you that has been part of this great event this morning. Mr. Speaker, I'm here to deliver our 2023 proposal to this great House. The Right Honorable Speaker and distinguished members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, it is with a great sense of duty that I stand before you today to present the year 2023 Appropriation Bill, which will be the final budget for our administration before the year 2023 general elections. As we work on consolidating our achievements in the last 3.5 years for our party's victory in the 2023 general election, the 2023 Appropriation Bill has been tagged Budget of Continuity. The 2023 Appropriation Bill expresses our unwavering determination to keep serving the good people of Lagos through our team's developmental agenda. We are indeed grateful for the trust reposed in us by the people, their faith in our government, and the operations since 2019. As we return to campaign trails to seek our people's mandate for yet another 4 years, we have resolved to continue our audacious intervention to every sector of our economy, and I'm confident that this budget of continuity will propel Lagos State to the next fiscal level. For these reasons, this is a very significant moment in the life of our administration, the culmination of a tenure dedicated to achieving a greater Lagos, and the start of a new one dedicated to unlocking a higher level of growth and prosperity for our people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this hallowed chamber, you will recall that the first budget proposal I presented to you was on November the 8th, 2019, for the year 2020 budget. That budget was tagged the budget of awakening for a greater Lagos. The first budget saw substantial increase in education and health spending over the previous years before we came in. This demonstrates our commitment to human capital development as a bedrock of any economic growth and development. This was followed in November 10, 2020, by the budget of Rekindled Hope, which came against the backdrop of a very turbulent worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, and the lessons and the learning coming out for the NSAS protest. With a total budget size of 1.1 trillion, the budget of Rekindle Hope sets the foundation for some of the incredible strides we have made in wealth creation, in youth engagement, in poverty eradication, and in the creation of jobs and opportunity for the entire citizens in Lagos State. It is widely acknowledged that the processes to gain full employment opportunities is a major stimulant for wealth creation and economic growth. This explains why there was a cumulative provision for over 160 billion in that budget for human capital development in the year 2021. On our third visit budget proposal, we presented before this Honorable House on the 24th of November 2021 a budget we christened the Budget of Consolidation, reflecting its status as our final full-year budget before the year 2023 election, as well as our obsessive focus on sustaining the gains made in mitigating the disruptions of the previous 2 years, especially through aggressive social intervention, support for businesses, and investment in critical infrastructure across the entire 377 wards in the state. Mr. Speaker, this 2023 budget proposal, which I have honor by presenting to you today, October 27th, 2022, has been appropriately christened the Budget of Continuity. It meant to reflect the link with previous budgets, as well as our continued focus on building on the strong foundation laid in the past 3.5 years, that is, from May 2019 till date. Despite the many challenges we have faced, and we have been able to remain focused and resolute as a government. I really want to appreciate Mr. Speaker and the honorable members of this House for your support from the beginning of our administration. I am particularly impressed with the single-minded determination of your good selves and all the honorable members towards ensuring that good governance touches every nook and cranny of our dear state. Within the last 3 years, with our heads up, we can say that we have significantly delivered on all of our promises to Lagosians. Our performance has been verified by Lagosians and by non-Lagosians that are privileged to visit and spend time in our great state. We have completed most ongoing projects that were inherited from previous administration. The outstanding uncompleted projects have been substantially progressed and will be commissioned in the near future. Our various policies, programs, and interventions have concentrated around creating opportunity for our teeming population by focusing on job creation, human capital development. The people of Lagos are the greatest assets to the state, and it is from this that we learn that the credit must go for the economic growth and development of our state and the ones that we have enjoyed over several decades. Mr. Speaker, statistics have shown that there is a direct correlation between investment in human capital development and economic growth, as measured under the gross domestic product, GDP. Increased investment in health and education, respectively, produce correlated outcomes of productivity and good governance. This is why we are determined to continue to align the path of people-centered policy-making and targeted investment to create the right enabling environment for Lagosians to thrive and to do well. When our people have the right environment and access to high-quality healthcare, education, skilled opportunity, there's no limit to what they can achieve, no limit to the level of growth and development that Lagos, and by extension, our country, can unlock. It is with now a start of highlighting. I will now start highlighting the major achievements and accomplishments that we have seen since we came into power in 2019 through a disciplined implementation of the 3 budgets that this Honorable House have graciously passed over this period. And so the highlights of some of the things we've done since 2019. In education, towards improving the learning and infrastructure deficit in our government, this administration has upgraded existing infrastructure and providing new ones. We will continue to do this in every possible way that will ensure that we have an improved learning and teaching environment in all of our public schools. Since 2019, we have successfully executed 1,149 unique projects in our schools. This includes the construction and handing over of 1,047 new classrooms. We've rehabilitated extensively 197 schools. We've constructed 8 brand new hostel accommodation in some of our model schools. We've handed close to 2,000 bed spaces in these schools. We've constructed and handed over 8 tower security buildings. We've rehabilitated about 298 public secondary schools. We've added 5 new public libraries in Ekpe, Badagry, Etiosa, Amuwo, and Ikorodu. We have equally provided dual pieces of furniture, about 180,000, which by extension gives seats for almost 400,000 students. In terms of capacity building and strengthening of our public education sector, in the last 3 years, we have successfully recruited almost 10,000 teachers across primary and secondary schools. In the area of educational technology, we have been living up to our name as Nigeria's pace-setter state. We held the first pre-tertiary computer-based test in the country for our Lagos model colleges in 2021. Our deployment of technology solutions has helped us to improve our learning outcomes. For example, the WAEC pass rate in our public schools rose between 1999-2000 from 39% to 80% in 2021, and in 2022 it has driven to 82%, even against the backdrop of a global pandemic called COVID-19. Our Eco-Excel initiative, which is Leave No Child Behind, has trained over 18,000 teachers and equipped them with teaching tablets. And we have also equipped about 450,000 students with personal e-learning technologically driven devices and textbooks. We have successfully introduced a comprehensive school program. We have rolled this out in 12 schools at the first phase, and we are targeting 50 before the middle of next year. We want to use this to stem the rate of attrition out of our public schools. We see this as a challenge, and we have introduced comprehensive schools. We're also equally emphasizing vocational education as a means of also stemming attrition. And new subjects that are being taught in these schools, including technology, beauty and fashion, building and material testing, media, and agriculture. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, I am excited to announce the commencement of academic session in our 2 newly established tertiary institutions, which is the University of Education and the University of Science and Tech, which this noble House granted us a bill to set these 2 universities up. Equally, on tertiary education, apart from the creation of these 2 universities in the state, we have also institutionalized training and upscaling of our students in preparedness for the war of the future. In this regard, we are using the Job Initiative Lagos, JIL, a program that has seen us train over 70,000 schools, university students in entrepreneurial skills and work readiness for the future. Our policies and interventions in the education sector have been profoundly improved outcomes in our students and their ability to contribute meaningfully and effectively to the economic trajectory and growth of our state. On our health and emergency response, Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, you will recall on common response that your states went through during the COVID-19 pandemic, for which we got positive recognition and global accolade for what we were able to do together with yourselves during this pandemic. One of our major takeaways from this pandemic, therefore, is the need for us to improve our people's access to quality health care, which is why we have and will continue to proactively invest in significant resources in building, in rehabilitating, in equipping all of our primary, secondary, and tertiary health facilities that we have in our state. We successfully rolled out our telemedicine service, leveraging the Lagos Health Management Agency, LASHMA, to support our home-based care during the COVID-19 cases. This served over 15,000 patients during that time. The oxygen production plants, the Oxygen Triad Center that we installed at IDH Yaba, Bagada General Hospital, the LASU, and 15 other locations around the state, helped us significantly to reduce the incident, the mortality that the third wave of COVID-19 could have birthed on our citizens. Data, we believe, was also very critical for us to have a long-term access in healthcare. And to this end, we're deploying a smart health information system called SHIP, which will serve as a centralized point for all health system data in Lagos, which will lead us to a more agile decision-making at policy level, increase cost effectiveness in logistics planning and procurement system, and increase efficiency in the utilization and the management of the state access in health. In terms of healthcare infrastructure, we have completed and handed over the Mother and Child Hospital in Ekpe, in Aja, Etiosa, in Badagry, and in Igondo. Whilst we are on track to complete the development of the new Massive Children's Hospital in Lagos Island, which in our view will be the biggest children's hospital in West Africa. We have also completed extensive rehabilitation of a cardio-renal center in Bagada. We've adjusted a new one in Harvey Road. We've also done extensive work at General Hospital in Badagry, also in Lagos Island, in Isolo, and in Ekpe. Mr. Speaker, we are on track with building a 500-bed psychiatric hospital currently under construction at K2A Junior. We're also well on track for our 280-bed general hospital in Ojo. We're on track with the development of a 300-bed isolation center in Yaba, and we're in extensive discussion at building our infectious disease research center in Yaba, and also ensuring that we can set up a Lagos medical and industrial innovation zone that will be a global player for health and innovation and future investment. Thank you. We are currently undertaking a comprehensive renovation of our public health facilities in Ebute Metta General Hospital, the General Hospital Odo in Lagos Island, the General Hospital in Isolo, amongst others. As I speak, we are completing doctors' quarters at Bagada General Hospital, in Ojo, and in Lasu. We have completed and handed over 4 new ambulances bay, and we've been able to hand over 50 new ambulances in the last 3.5 years in our various hospitals. In collaboration with the private sector on our PPP arrangement, we're also developing a medical park on Auro Road, Ikoyi. This, we believe, will increase access to quality health and contribute to inbound medical tourism and reduce the incidence of brain drain. To improve access to healthcare and manage the cost of increased access, the Lagos State Health Management Agency, LASHMA, has also been very proactive in the engagement and enrollment of our citizens under the health insurance scheme. To date, we have over 250 private hospitals that have also joined us on this scheme, and we've been able to register close to 700,000 enrollees, and we look forward to a lot more enrollees in the days and the months ahead. Of course, one of the challenges Nigeria is currently facing is the unfortunate emigration of doctors and other health personnel, especially to other parts of the world. Lagos State is doing a lot to improve the working condition and remuneration of our health personnel. We want to set a good example for our country that it is possible for us to stem brain drain and, in fact, convert them to brain gain. We're confident that our increasing focus and investment in healthcare will lead to an improved opportunity for employment and growth within this sector. This will be in addition to what we're jointly doing with the private sector, and which is evidenced by the various investments that are being made in development of new world-class medical facilities all around the state. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to note that indeed, with all of the investment and intervention in the healthcare space, Lagos is on its way to becoming a regional and a continental hub for medical excellence. Our success in this regard will help to rewrite the story about Nigeria, as the current negative dominant narrative is not acceptable by our own government. In the area of emergency response, we have acquired 62 brand new firefighting trucks and vehicles, which will be handed over later today to the Lagos State Fire Service. We have also yesterday, Mr. Speaker, handed over 3 brand new fire stations at Ajiromi, Ibute-Elefun, and Oniru, with construction coming up to complete the additional 3 that we have. And we're also rehabilitating the existing 14 that we have under our watch. The brand new head office of the fire service just around here has driven a new lease, and you can see that all of our firemen are ready to face the challenge of first responders. Later today, Mr. Speaker, we'll also be adding a total of 435 firefighters to the numbers of our first responders in the Lagos State Fire Service. In transportation and infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this House, we are seeing transportation and infrastructure as a critical segment of our development agenda, and rightly so, because it forms the first pillar on our team's agenda. For a buoyant economy, which is what we have always been committed to from inception, we recognize and will appreciate the need to make investment in these areas, as we have often determined that productivity is driven by how well your people can move from one point to the other. And so since 2019, when we identified 60 traffic gridlocks across the metropolis, our traffic management interventions have indeed been able to support and resolve 41 of these traffic points. And we believe that significant impact of flow have seen about 86%, of traffic gridlock at this point being resolved extensively. Some of these major access includes the Access Bank Road in Uniru, Allen Avenue, Lekki Epe Expressway, Ikeja, Maryland Junction, and all of them all around the state. In Apapa, for example, we have seen appreciable resolution of the Apapa gridlock, and we dare say that indeed we have significantly solved the problem there through the implementation of the call-up system and through the provisions of about 31 hectares of land for the development of a trailer park. Lagosians now enjoy enhanced productivity in that part of the city. Journeys that hitherto take hours are now being reduced to less than 20-25 minutes to do a turnaround in Apapa. We have equally recruited over 1,000 new LASMA personnel to improve traffic management and coordination all around the metropolis. We have also given the headquarters of LASMA and other of their zones a major facelift, which we believe has improved and will enhance their efficiency and their productivity. These are some of the things that we have done that will help to ease traffic flows from and within the metropolis. Mr. Speaker, and in line with our pledge to transform critical infrastructure in the state, I'm proud to say that we successfully facilitated investment of over $600 million in the Lekki Deep-Sea Port, which we know are working very closely with other private sector. These brand new ports, which will be completed before the end of next month. In fact, from next week, it's supposed to start test running. We believe that it will have the capacity to receive 3 times the capacity that we currently have in Apapa Port, and will give Lagos GDP, and will give about 50% of shipping logistics volume within West Africa that we currently have only about 22%. I'm pleased to also note that we have just received approval from the federal government for the establishment of the Badagry Deep-Sea Port, which is also in partnership with the private sector at our last Inveti Summit. We believe that the complement of the Lekki Port and Apapa Port will take Lagos as a foremost port destination, not only in West Africa, but in the entire sub-Saharan Africa. And it will be able to compete very, very well with the ports of Sahad in Egypt and the port of Durban in South Africa. And will position Lagos as having been ready for the African Free Trade Continental Free Agreement. To complement the Lekki seaports and the growing problem of eastern flank of the state, we are completely rebuilding the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway with a re-enhanced and reinforced concrete from the first phase from the Eleko Junction to the Ekpe Junction, which is an 18.7 kilometer, 6-lane rigid pavement road. The phase 2 of this road, which will start from the Eleko Junction also to Abraham Adesoya, has since been awarded and construction is underway. Mr. Speaker, members of this House, it gives me great joy and delight to announce to you that we are on the grips of successfully birthing a fully functional light rail system within the Lagos metropolis. This is the first project of this kind funded by any subnational anywhere in the world. The blue line and the red line are scheduled to commence operations within the first quarter of 2023. The combination of both lines will reduce daily commutes of millions of Lagosians, which either take almost 2-3 hours on journey, which will now be reduced to under 30 minutes. This significantly enhances the productivity of our people and will improve the quality of life of our citizens. The red line, which comes with 10 bridges, 5 of them almost completed now, will have 8 first-class, world-class train stations and about 10 pedestrian bridges. The blue line also, which will have an elevated station, both at the National Trade Fair and, the National Theatre and the Marina Station, which are the sizes of 2 football fields put together. Both lines have, over the construction period, generated employment for over 7,000 Lagosians, and is expected that about 5,000 direct permanent jobs will be generated once the passenger operations commences on these rail projects. In addition to these major roads and rail across the state, we have also recorded significant strides in the construction, rehabilitation of roads across the state. In Ikorodu, Obashekumade Road has been completed, Ijere Road has been completed. We are on track at ensuring that we complete Berigbe, Agric Ishawo, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and all the rest of it in Ikorodu. In Ojokoro, there are roads that we're doing in Alimosho. Ishekun Camp David has been completed. We're on track on Ije Ododo, Ijagemo, Ijegun Road. We're on track with the development of new roads and new arteries in Alimosho. In Surulere, we have handed over the newly built Jimo Odutola Road, and we're working all around inner roads in Surulere. In Lagos Island, we have completed, about to hand over Adenja Dele, Tapa Road, and all of Okepopo. In Ikoyi and Victoria Island, we've handed over Thompson Road, we've handed over Milverton, Latif Jakonde, Cooper Road. We're almost completing Queen's Drive of Onyiko and Bayomi. In Victoria Island, we've handed over Adiola Hopewell, we've handed over Idowutelo. We're almost completing Adeyemo Alakija. We're almost completing all the ring roads around Oniru Estate. In Ojo, we're extensively gone, on Old Navy Town Road, on Buba-Marwa Road, on the Navy Town Road, and Old Ojo Road. We will also be moving into Afromedia Road, right? We're pushing extensively, to complete the Ajangbadi, road that we want to start with Okokomaiko. If we go to Badagry, similar roads are also being constructed, and we're on a track to ensure that no part of Lagos is left behind. In Koshofe, Demuren, Church Street, the link road from Ketu-Alapere up onto Ojodu Road have also been almost completed. You've seen that we've completed the extensive redevelopment from mile 2 all the way to Kurudu, because it's now rigid pavement. And these are some of the new developments and some of the new things that we're seeing in all parts of the state. In Amuwo-Odofin, in Ajegunle, Mbaka-Doso Road have also been completed. Different things are happening in different parts of the city. In Sanwo-Olu, you've seen St. Finbar's Road, you've seen Sholui Road, they've all been extensively done. You've seen the Iwaya Road that also have been completed. Every part of the city, every part of the metropolis is not left behind. In Epe, you've seen Sovio Yakubu Road, you've seen all the extensive, phase 2 road development that is happening, and we're completing and ensuring that we can hand over these roads to our citizens. We have also awarded, which is ongoing, the Lekki Regional Road, which is from Freedom Road to the outpost at VGC. We are also on track to ensure that the plan around the 4th mainland bridge, we sign the documents before the end of this year, once we have from our consultants and our investors the completion of the due diligence that we're doing currently. To optimize transport infrastructure, we have completed a total of 361 sectional road rehabilitation. We've handed over 240 new palliatives, and our Lagos State Public Works have done over 650 inner roads all around the city. We have also introduced what we call the first and the last mile transport system. We've added over 500 new last mile buses into the fleet. Within the last 3 years, we've added high capacity, about 1,200 high capacity buses into our fleet in Lagos State. And these fleets are moving over 4 million people on the ridership on a daily basis. These buses have been introduced in different parts to ease the ban on Okada that we have in other parts of the city. Mr. Speaker, in water transportation, we have increased access to ferry movements in different parts of the water bodies that we have. Today, we're building terminals in 16 locations. 7 of them are already completed and will be handed over, and the remaining 8 will be completed before the end of our administration. We've added 22 new ferry jetties in 60 passenger capacity, 50 passenger capacity that are moving people from one part to another. The new jetties that we're working on parts of the city. We're constantly making new investment in channelization and in development of navigational safety aids. These are evident in our major routes in Baiku, Okela, Badore, in Laje Bariga, in Victoria Island, in Falomo, and new routes around CMS, to Ikorodu, Ebutero. And on the back of all of our investment, we now have about 2.5 million on a monthly basis utilizing our waterways. We have successfully integrated the various transport systems, rail, road, and water, with our multinodal seamless payment system, which we call the Cowrie card. The Cowrie card has been printed and handed over to 1.2 million negotiants, and they're using this card on a daily basis. Mr. Speaker, within the environment and environmental space, as I mentioned earlier, a healthy population portends a great benefit for its economic fortunes of a state. In this same vein, we have prioritized spending on key environmental policies and interventions designed to keep environment clean and our population equally healthy. In the past 3 years, over 1,200 kilometers of drainage channels have been cleared and new ones built, with over 96 primary drainage channels across the state that are being maintained as we speak. We are working on a total of 222 secondary channels to reduce the impact that we see globally of global warming and flooding that is evident all around us. In addition, we have a total of 739 EFANC gang that works on a daily basis all around our 57 local government and LCDs as first-line respondents to abate and to reduce flood disaster or flood incidents statewide. Mr. Speaker, Lagos is not immune to global challenges around climate change. Much of the world continues to face rising sea level, extreme heat, and excessive rainfall, with Nigeria also getting its fair share of this devastating disaster. These are indeed unprecedented and challenging times in the history of the world. For us as Lagos State, we clearly understand and appreciate that climate is a risk multiplier that makes worse already existing challenges. And to this end, while mindful of unique land size and topography, I would like to reassure you that we're on course to deliver on our climate adaptation strategy. I'm pleased to report that we have begun extensive work on our climate adaptation strategy for Lagos, and I want to assure Lagosians that we'll constantly monitor our bodies of water in the state to generate and to disseminate timely and meaningful information that will help to reduce the incidence of risk for our citizens and our various communities. With regards to waste management, the Lagos State, through LOMA, has acquired 102 compactor new trucks, as well as 100 locally assembled double bin dyno for the use in the state. Equally, we have also supported our PSP operators to regraded. We have also upgraded and certified La Cepa Laboratory, now the first government-owned ISO certified environmental laboratory in our country. This now allows us to cover laboratory requirements for big institutions and government corporations. Mr. Speaker, under technology and startup support, technology is central to our vision of making Lagos a 21st century economy. The strategic deployment of technological tools and platforms give us a leverage that allowed us to rapidly scale up our economic growth and development while creating environment for our people to innovate. Also, the fact that technology provides inspiration, hope, and economic opportunity for millions of young people is enough reason to ensure that it's also a priority for any government that seeks to enhance the limitless energy and capacity of its young people. Today, Lagos is a startup capital for Africa in terms of both the number of startups, businesses that we have, and our ability to attract funding and also provide exit opportunity for international investors. This is the city, as you know, where fintech unicorns, InterSwitch, Florida-Ways, Paystack, and several others are born and are nurtured. We are proud of them, and we're determined to ensure that many more of their type emerge in the near future. We're facilitating investment in technology infrastructure, and it has galvanized to see that we're building this ecosystem. In this regard, I'm pleased to inform that we have so far attracted over $1 billion in private investment into data center infrastructure in Lagos in the last 3 years, including Google undersea cable that is bringing 20 times capacity as previously existed. And we're bringing hyperscale data center on ground, and we are happy that we're part of the groundbreaking that we saw earlier in the year. We also invested directly as a government in this regard. We have deployed and completed 2,900 fiber optics cable duct infrastructure as part of our planned 6,000 network across the entire metropolis. This network, we believe, will supply our schools, will supply hospitals, will supply other government facilities with high-speed internet, and also bring high-speed broadband to last mile, which will be in homes and in public spaces. Already, more than 50 government schools, hospitals, and other facilities are already connected to this network. We also use this to launch our first built 3-tier data center in Lagos within a few weeks. This, we believe, will provide huge infrastructure platform needed to power our smart city initiative. Through the Lagos State Science and Research Innovation last week, we have supported over 40 technology startups businesses with seed capital over the last 2 years. Lagos is one of the first in the country to launch a structured startup support program like this. Last week has funded over 50 research and development projects across our 4 tertiary institutions in Lagos, Unilag, Yaba Tech, LASU, and the University of Science and Tech, which we call LASPOLY before. With a first patent, we got a first patent of one of them in 2020. And so for us, we see Lagos as a startup capital, and our government will run an information portal for startup ecosystem, serving both local and international investors, as well as secure and important news and events for opportunities for innovators and inventors. Currently, this startup portal has over 3,000 startups on that portal and is growing on a daily basis. A very vital technology project that we have embarked upon as a state is a smart camera across the state. We have so far deployed about 520 of these smart cameras, and we're on track to deliver the first phase of 2,000 and a second phase which will take us to the 10,000, which will have covered every nook and cranny of the state. These intelligent cameras are not only actively supporting our work of law enforcement agents and covering first responders, but it's also providing very useful information in traffic management. We're seeing fewer incidents of needless confrontations between traffic enforcement officers and our citizens, while also seeing improved compliance with traffic rules within the metropolis. We're also investing, together with the private sector, in the development of a technology campus in Yaba, which we call the Knowledge Innovation Technology Enterprise Campus, which will greatly boost Lagos' position as a leading technology hub in Africa. Mr. Speaker, within the micro, small, and medium-scale businesses, the state government, through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, has supported almost 4,000 businesses with grants of over 1.2 billion, in direct financing, and in adding to other interventions, including mentorship, business advisory services, capacity building, as well as market access opportunity. The Lagos Employment Trust Fund has also trained over 4,000 in digital skills like digital marketing, coding, desktop production, and many more. We've seen that the vision of the Lagos Employment Trust Fund has supported over 40 tech startups hub in Lagos, and they're beginning to give vouchers to these hubs, at various locations that have been known as Lagos Innovation Network Hubs. The Specialized MSMEs Recovery Fund, which was an intervention during the COVID-19, in 2020-2021, has helped about 1,835 small businesses and has given them grants of almost $1 billion, 940 million to be specific, and it has saved over 10,000 direct jobs and about 40,000 indirect jobs. We also introduced the Lagos Economic Acceleration Program, LEAP, to reduce the effects of COVID-19 pandemic again on small businesses. This initiative put together a 5 billion Edu Fund in partnership with the First Bank, and I'm also happy that the Edu Fund is doing very, very well. And we'll also set up another 1 billion agricultural value chain fund, which is also being utilized by some of these. Mr. Speaker, members of this Hallowed Chamber, you will notice that we're aligned very quickly technology and innovation as one of the serious sustenance of life for young people. And we see that opportunities are bound to ensure that they can build up their skills and leadership development. To this end, we have rolled out various programs and initiatives that focus on providing fiscal infrastructure, development of sporting talent, and the provision of training and leadership development for young people to be able to provide them for the future. In this area of fiscal infrastructure, we have remodeled and renovated and added new youth centers across the state. The youth center in Ibesan, Alimosho, in Lafiaji, in Lagos Island, Modipe Oshikoya and Ikorodu, Badagry Youth Center. Similarly, we have done in Pokuoba Youth Center, Epe, Oba Komolafe Youth Center, and Agege, Isheri Youth Center, Ikeja Youth Center. All these youth centers have been designed to provide full-scale spectrum of engagement for our young people across ICT development, sport and sporting facility, vocational training, and general counseling services. And in the area of sports development, we launched the Lagos School Sport Intervention Program in August of this year, making the return of sport into our Lagos State public schools a major curriculum. We are simultaneously investing in 8 mini-medias across the state to aid sports development and recreational facilities for our teeming youth. These are various levels of completion. Just last month, we signed an MOU on the development of e-sports, which is a new area of sports development with the French government, the first of its type in Nigeria, to enable our young people to take advantage of the multi-billion-dollar global business that is available in electronic sports. We are drawn to the opportunity to create world champions in this area, as well as the potential economic value that we can create. We're also taking advantage of the natural affinity of our young people for all forms of technologically based activity. And in the area of leadership training and development, the Lagos State Youth Leadership Initiative, which we call Ibile Youth Academy, has trained over 2,000 young people within our 5 divisions, including areas of virtues of citizenship, leadership, and volunteerism. Similarly, we have also launching and unveiling the pioneer set of what we promised last year, the Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy, which will be an annual leadership fellowship program to develop next generation leaders across the state and our country. Mr. Speaker, under the entertainment and creative arts sector, in appreciation and acknowledgement of the role of entertainment and the creative arts sector in our country, we have, over the past 3 years, developed a solid ecosystem that caters for our teeming youth population with interest in this subsector of entertainment and creative arts. In this regard, we have partnered with 4 international known names in our environment: the Del York Creative Academy, the Ebony Life Academy, the Ogiri Studios, and the African Film Academy under our Lagos Creative Academy Zone, which we set up as LASI. And we are beginning to train almost 15,000 students in different areas of filmmaking, script writing, music recording, video making and editing, cinematography, and other creative zones. Just a couple of days ago, I witnessed the graduation of another 1,000 at Igodo, in Alimosho. Through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, we have also committed over $1 billion into the entertainment and tourism industry as a way of helping them to cushion the effect of COVID-19 on the sector. We continue to partner with other stakeholders to develop the value for our people through intervention policies that are aimed at equipping them for the future of work. We have also given grants to movie producers, to film producers, to short film directors, just to be able to help them to get back to work and be able to cushion the effect of COVID-19. Similarly, the J. Randall Center for African Culture and History is nearly completion. We'll expect to launch and open this facility before the end of the year, and we believe it will enjoy critical support and partnership from global international players. We have seen support from the British Museum, and we've seen support from some of the big museums, even out of America, in the development of this center. At our recently completed Betty Summit, I'm also pleased to announce we signed an MOU with Del York and Storyline Studios to build an African film and media city in Epe, which will be the very first of its type in Africa. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, the last 4 segments that I've touched, which was on technology and startups, MSMEs and business support, youth empowerment and sports, art and entertainment, have shown that many of our policies and interventions in these areas are all youth-centric. They are designed to support the teeming youth that we have in our state and to give them a place and an opportunity to be part of the world of work. Our young people continue to be at the forefront of all that we do across all sectors. We know that they contribute their population, which is over 55% that we have currently. But more importantly, we recognize them as the major drivers of our economic growth and development. And thus, we will continue to prioritize our programs and our intervention to seek to equip them with the right tools for the future that we know is ahead of them. In agriculture, Mr. Speaker, whilst building resilience in areas of health and education, what COVID has shown us is we need to also be proactive in food security as a point where where we become vulnerable as a people, given what we've seen, the disruption in supply chain. Accordingly, and in response to this challenge, we're building what will be seen as Africa's largest logistics food market with the intention of creating 16,000 direct jobs and over 40,000 indirect jobs, which we believe will reduce food wastages by up to almost 50%, as well as establish a commodity exchange that is designed to reduce cost of food by as low as 25%. This facility, I'm pleased to announce, is currently under construction along K2 in Epe division of the state. It also gives me pleasure to announce that our 32 metric ton per hour rice mill at Imota will be commissioned in December. This is the largest rice mill in Africa, and upon completion, we believe it will create almost 300,000 direct and indirect jobs in the entire rice value chain. Our agro-processing productivity enhancement livelihood intervention appeals is also being implemented in Lagos, and it has created about 15,000 jobs already. With Lagos State consuming about 50% of the red meat market that we produce in the country, we're seizing the opportunity to invest in building our own feedlots and modern abattoirs. Accordingly, we have acquired about 750 hectares of land at Igodu for our cattle feedlot strategy. Similarly, as the state is blessed with abundance of water, we have equally established our fish value chain program, which has since increased economic activity in fishing communities in Badagry, Epe, and Ikorodu. This program has provided jobs opportunity for our people in the fishing community. Many of whom have been empowered with the fiberglass boats, fishing nets, and all sorts of infrastructure that is required. Mr. Speaker, the importance of shelter as a basic need in the life of any average person cannot be overemphasized. Even more critically, housing sector plays a vital role in the social economic development of any state. In realization of this, in the last 3 years, your administration have handed over and commissioned 17 housing projects, which has added about 4,000 new housing, different accommodation to the housing stock in the state. Our investment, coupled with strategic partnership of the private sector, has contributed in no small measure to our improved economic fortune as a state, which has provided impact on major microeconomic indices that we believe has led to job creation, wealth generation, and improved labor productivity. Similarly, guaranteeing power supply is a major aspect at making Lagos a truly 21st century economy. In this regard, we have taken stock of 20,000 first phase of phase 1 meters that we are currently distributing to vulnerable communities in our state. And we're also working to create a second electricity market through the Lagos State Energy Policy. We know that after the unbundling of that market, there's a need for us as a state to have, our own laws that will advise players in that sector. And I'm happy that the executive bill has been forwarded to this noble house. We look forward to your support at speedily passing this landmark bill so that investors and investment can get into the power space within our state. In security, justice, and governance, in the area of security, governance, and justice, Lagosians will agree with us that our state continue to receive investment in safety and security, and it's beginning to bear positive dividends, given the appreciative drop in the amount of crimes that we have recorded in the state. At the heart of our intervention in security is our Lagos State Security Trust Fund, a first-in-class that we've seen in the country, which have since been emulated by other states and even the federal government. We will continue to significantly contribute equipment, logistics, and support to the Lagos State Police Command, other security operatives in the state using this fund. It also pleases to inform this honorable house that in the course of our administration, hundreds of new patrol vehicles have been given to them, high-capacity, carriers, anti-riot, cannon vehicles, and all sorts of, bulletproof vests and security equipment have been handed over to the police. And in terms of judiciary and access to justice, we're currently renovating about 22 magistrate courts, and we're digitalizing 10 courtrooms at the High Courts. We're also working on a series of reform judicial justice system for an improved efficiency and early dispensation of justice. Equally, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that we got approval and appointments through the NJC, 24 new High Court judges, the highest that any state that we have recorded at any single time within the last 3 years, and we believe that this has impacted and will continue to impact the case of administration of justice in our states. I have taken time, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, to go through our achievements, modest, I dare say, over the course of the last 3 years, all with a view to presenting to this House the budget that we've been expended on all sectors and how it has robustly, in our view, impacted in the life of our citizens. Let me now review the year 2022 budget outcomes. The year 2022 budget is consistent with the Lagos State Development Plan and our team's agenda. We have designed the budget to give priority to completion of ongoing projects, as well as ensure that every effort are made at investment, partnership, policy, and extremely mitigate against noticeable negative impacts that might arise from our non-intervention. The size of the 2022 budget was 1.78 trillion, with a total revenue of 1.237 trillion and a deficit financing of about 521 billion. Capital expenditure was 1.1 trillion, representing 66% of total budget size, whilst recurrent expenditure stood at 591 billion, representing 34%. This capital to recurrent of 65 to 35 is within the Lagos State tradition and ensuring that economic growth must be supported by increased investment in capital expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the performance of the year 2022 budget as at the third quarter ending 30th September 2022 stood at 972 billion, representing 74% of the total budget size. An analysis of this shows that our total revenue has done 72%, our expenditure has done 81%, our total capital expenditure has done 70%, our total expenditure size has done 74%, and our financing we've done 77%. The above performance, whilst below our own set expectation, retains very strong prospects for us to close very strong. We still believe we will close at close to the 90 mark that we usually do, 85 and above, despite the global challenges mentioned earlier. This is supported by the near completion of our bond issuance of about 130 billion. We believe that we'll continue to use the various performance-enhancing strategy to motivate our people to close the budget at the end of the year at a very, very high note. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, in promoting good governance, especially in the area of long-range planning and resilience, we recently launched the 30-year Lagos Development Plan, 2022 to 2052. This plan, which has been crafted through numerous extensive stakeholder engagement, is the plan for our citizens. It has in its core 4 cardinal themes. 1, a thriving economy. Lagos will have a robust, healthy, and a growing economy with adequate jobs and strategic investments to sustain the growth. Human-centric city. Every Lagosian will have access to affordable and world-class education, healthcare provision, and social services. 3, modern infrastructure. Lagos will have reliable and sufficient infrastructure that meets the needs of a real 21st century city. And the 4th was on effective governance. Lagos will have a supportive and enabling environment that creates opportunity for all its citizens. These are the 4 critical pillars on which the 30-year development plan has been christened and has been handed over to our citizens. Mr. Speaker, I will now go to the year 2023 budget. I'm privileged here today to present our proposal for the year 2023 budget, which we tagged a budget of continuity. As earlier stated, this is the last budget before the 2023 general elections. It is therefore an opportunity to consolidate on all that we've been doing since our inception as an administration. I believe this will satisfy the yearning and aspiration of our people, the people of Lagos. The year 2023 is a year in which we will aggressively focus at completing all our ongoing projects, whilst we're expanding our social intervention programs and support for our citizens, from micro to medium to small businesses. In view of this, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to present to you the year 2022-2023 budget of continuity as proposed, with a total budget size of 1,692,670,753,894. This comprises of a total revenue of 1,342,670,649,640 and a deficit financing of 350 billion. This comprises a total internally generated revenue, IGR of about 1.1 trillion, and total federal transfer of about 250 billion. Where we equally propose a recurrent expenditure of about 759 billion, comprising of total overhead, total personnel costs, and recurrent debt servicing split in the following manner. A total overhead cost of 403 billion, comprising overhead of 221 billion, subvention about 93 billion, and dedicated about 88 billion. Total personnel costs about 247 billion, and recurrent debt service about 109 billion. As regards capital expenditure, we propose a total figure of 932 billion 712 million 190,102, analyzed as new capital expenditure of about 670 billion and repayments of about 262 billion. Mr. Speaker, as you will notice, this budget size is made up of recurrent 45% and capital 55%, in tandem with our policy of ensuring that at all times capital expenditure outweighs significantly recurrent expenditure. The deficit financing shall consist of external and internal loans and bonds which are way within our fiscal sustainability parameters. The sectoral allocation in line with the classification of functions of government, COFAG, is proposed in the table below. General public services will have 18.2%, 308 billion. Public order and safety will have 80 billion, 4.7%. Economic activity will have 339 billion, which is 20.6%. Environment will have 65 billion, which is 3.8%. Housing and community will have 67, which is 3.9%. Health will have 125 billion, which is 7.4%. Recreation and religion will have 24 billion, which is 1.4%. Education will have 153 billion, which is 9.07%. Social protection will have 18 billion, which is 1.1%. And under the statewide vote, which is about 30%, contingency reserves for pension and rest of it, it's about 4.22%, which is 71 billion. Loans and repayment is about 15%. Personnel costs and service-wide is about 6.24%, which is 105 billion. Grant and funding is 4. And despite the staggering inflation and the inconsistent foreign currency regime that we see in our country and in the global world, despite all of these challenges, we will continue to intensify our efforts in building a resilient, and it is gratifying to note that Lagos State does not lack the courage, we do not lack the character, we do not lack the conviction, neither do we lack the creativity needed to sustain our position as the economic powerhouse of our country. We will keep challenging ourselves to innovate, to think out of the box, to grow, and to keep the rising of Lagos up bigger than what we have met. The road may be rough, but we'll keep moving. We believe it's Ajumoshe Gogowani. In closing, allow me to mention that in direct response to some of the aftershocks of the global challenges, the state has reinforced its commitment to prudent management of the resources by proposing a bill for the Lagos State Wealth Fund. This fund will include a stabilization fund which will support our ability to absorb future and sustained shock. It will provide an infrastructure fund as well as a technology and innovation fund that will support our quest and our vision to lead Africa to a leveraged, innovative position and leapfrog our citizens and our people into the future. I'm pleased to announce that this esteemed House will be receiving this bill very shortly. We believe that we will continue to enjoy the support of the House for this initiative. It is noteworthy, and it's for emphasis' sake, that this is the first wealth fund that any sub-national will be presenting audaciously in the entire sub-African region. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of this Assembly, in keeping with our unique history, legacy, and demography, Lagos continues to experience increased pressure on social services due to unhindered migration from other parts of the country. It is for this reason that I've always sought and still continue to reiterate the need for Lagos to be accorded a special status as a national asset. Lagos is too big for this country to allow it to fail. Lagos is too strategic for us not to see it, that the whole sum of Lagos is the whole sum of this country, that the benefit of Lagos transcends one region, one part, or one scope of this country. As a microsome of the entire country, Lagos State deserves all the support it can get at the national level. The development of any mega city like ours is the responsibility of both public and private sector. And to this end, we'll continue to explore public-private partnership strategies in the provision of infrastructure, social services, and conversion of challenges to opportunities within the context of scarce resources. I'm indeed very grateful for the members of the organized private sector who have always heeded our call for partnership and shown great and uncommon civic engagement with government at all times. I appreciate the efforts and the contribution of our public service, all our workers in our ministries, in our departments and agencies, for identifying with the projections of our vision and ensuring that they work hard at achieving our administration's set objectives. You have greatly contributed to the victories and to the successes that we have achieved in the last 3 years. I'm positive that you will all continue to give your best to Lagos. And that's why when we announce a salary increase, you are most deserving of it, and will ensure that we give it to our public servants. I remain grateful to the Right Honourable Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, and members of this House for your consistent support, assistance, patience, cooperation. We believe without you, there will be no budget. To the leadership and to the teaming members of our party, the All Progressive Congress in Lagos, I cannot thank you enough. To thank you from the depth of our mind for supporting our government, for believing in us, for laying a strong foundation, for ensuring that what we have seen as a success story in Lagos will be replicated at the national level of our country. And I'm sure you know why it has to be that a Lagosian can indeed lead this country to a level that will be enviable for all to see. I want to thank you for believing in us and the work that we're doing together. I want to thank all of our traditional rulers, our religious leaders. I want to thank all our civil society groups. I want to thank all of our stakeholders. I want to appreciate you for your unflinching support to our administration. To all the good people of Lagos, I'm personally eternally grateful for the opportunity and the privilege to serve. I would like to assure you that we will intensify the pace of work in the days ahead to add lasting value to your life. Please continue to support us by obeying the laws of the land, by paying for services and taxes in full, and by exercising vigilance and providing useful information that will help tackle the activities of criminals that we do not want in our sight. And keep saying, if you see something, say something. As you're all aware, we are fully in election season. We are grateful for the many gains that our democracy has offered us since the beginning of this Fourth Republic in 1999. We must strive to consolidate on these gains and ensure that we do not lose any of the grounds that we have all gained. In terms of a vastly improved electoral system, an increased level of civic engagement, and an increasing quality of governance at all levels. We are not yet where we should be, but this should not blind us to the progress we have all made together thus far. I want to appeal to all of us to shun any form of violence, any form of the violent conduct, and to carry out our politics with a spirit of tolerance, with a spirit that ensures that there could be different views and opinions, and to know that we're on the same coin, we're just on different sides of the coin. I believe as the Russians, we will have a rancor-free, we'll have issue-based politics, and we are on the map for that. Once again, Lagosians, I want to thank you for joining hands with our administration. You overwhelmingly elected us to lead you on a journey for a greater Lagos, for our collective dreams and aspirations. This journey is bright. It's a journey of bright future that we see. I promise you that we'll continue to ensure that we deliver on the promises. The Lagos of our dream, the greater Lagos of our aspiration is realizable with you and us working together. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, I hereby warmly commend the 2023 budget of continuity to this great house. Thank you. God bless you. Long live Lagos State. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.